I'm organizing Queer's community to hopefully open a dialogue or a discourse within queer community around issues of, inclusion or lack of inclusion in our spaces, because we often have spaces that are very segmented and very fragmented off between, like different forms of identity. We've got, like very gay spaces and very trans spaces and very white spaces and all of that, and there are just so many people that identify somewhere along the queer spectrum that aren't coming together to understand one another and to talk to one another. One of the best things that we can do to get to this point within the queer community of like a truly inclusive community, a truly supportive community, is to really start coming together and really start talking about, our differences and the ways in which we interact, and trying to be intentional with how we treat one another and how we create spaces and occupy spaces, so that people feel comfortable, feel supported, and start to bridge those gaps, because those gaps are very real in people's lives, and we need to come together and start to break those down very intentionally.
I understand that separating gender and sexuality is complicated. It's difficult, it's hard to grasp for many people. The idea of transgender and transsexual and genderqueer and trans, it took me years to even start to understand it, to really understand it, and I'm living it. And no matter how much I explain, however all the arts and education, it won't change some people's minds, which is only fair, I suppose. Trans people are weird. We're icky, confusing, bringers of uncomfortable conversation. To those who have difficulty with myself and others like me, I think it's time for me to apologize for being trans. On behalf of myself, and on behalf of all non-normatively gendered individuals, I am sorry for being scary, for being strange and making you uncomfortable. I'm sorry for raising awkward questions about what male and female mean. I'm sorry for not fitting into one box or the other. I'm sorry for questioning the need for boxes at all. I'm sorry for androgyny and ambiguity and flexibility and spectra and rainbows of infinite possibilities. I'm sorry for my body. I'm sorry for having breasts that are the result of orally taken hormones and not gonadally produced hormones. For having skin that is smooth due to those hormones and thousands of dollars of hair removal. I'm sorry for having a penis between my legs, for being an outie instead of an innie. I'm sorry shopping is such a chore, that I can't wear those yoga pants or that tight skirt without tucking my cock up between my legs and securing it with medical tape. I'm sorry my breasts are perky because they came in at 23 and not 13. I'm sorry for my physical strength. Something I'll always doubt is from working out, and will presume was from the testosterone coursing through my system for 20+ years. I'm sorry for my wide shoulders, my big hands, my hairy toes. I'm sorry for my occasionally ambiguous voice, for still getting stirred on the phone every once in a while, for causing double takes. Sorry for being so insistent, for refusing to use the single stall bathroom and demanding to use the women's room, for making a stink about names and pronouns, for calling you out when you get it wrong over and over and over again, for being a voice of anger and frustration and depression. I am sorry for being so angry, for letting it boil and bubble and spill out of my mouth and onto the page and onto the stage and into my voice and through my spine, for standing tall and walking down the street. I am sorry for my bitter tone, my condescending look, my frustrated sigh. I am sorry the anger has crept up my body and through my veins and my hair and my fingernails and out my tear ducts until, like Play-Doh being squeezed through a tube, every pore of my being exudes rage. I am sorry for wanting more legal protection, medical coverage, equal rights, safe bathrooms, safe jails, safe treatment from police and teachers and students and people on the street. I'm sorry that I won't step back, step down, step aside. I'm sorry, but that isn't enough. It's not good enough. I don't see your point. I can't compromise. I'm sorry that I am tired, exhausted really, at explaining at great length to you what seems so obvious to me.